Hello friends, hola amigos, ¿cómo están? How are you? This is Lena with Especially Made for Me. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be working on a wreath, and we're doing a summer wreath. And I'm actually going to be going with something I've actually made. This is one of our kits in our shop that you can actually purchase if you would like. I made this is one of two or three, I think three, summer kits that I've made. And this one is actually a sign and ribbon kit. So I made the sign and we have the ribbons to match. And that's what we're going to be using today. So the thing with the sign and ribbon kits, it kind of opens it up to where you can use any mesh you may already have at home. You could use 21 inch, a 10 inch, metallic, whichever, just to kind of go with the theme of the sign and the ribbons. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing what can be considered as a very simple wreath, but with the ribbons and the signs, it will add a little bit of oomph to it. And we're going to show you a couple of tips. I've already started filling our wreath form, just to have our base going, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing and show you some of the supplies here. So first thing, of course, the sign, and I'm going to just kind of hold it up a little bit. Maybe with the lighting you can see a little bit of the colors. So we have some lime and some yellow and orange and pink and turquoise and all the summery nice colors, just having fun in the sun. We have some fuchsia in there as well, so a couple of different varieties of pink. And this is going to be our main ribbon. So I'm going to hold up the sign again, because basically I used the ribbon to help me with the sign. So basically have the same little stripes and the same colors. In the base of the ribbon is actually more of the pink and the fuchsia, but it's got all of the different colors that we have on the sign. So we're going to be use that as one of our as our main ribbon. But of course I want to add some more color of the colors that we have. So we have other ribbons here, and these are actually the same ribbons that you get with the kit. They're just cut down to sizes that have the big rolls. So of course we have the pink fuchsia color to go with it, and we have of course some yellow. Hello yellow. But this yellow ribbon, this is the 1.5 inch ribbon, and it's got the yellow and the pink and the limes as well, and some white, so it kind of offsets, goes with the sign as well. So we have 3 different ribbons we're going to be using, and that you also get with this kit. So like so. So this is basically what comes in the kit, and you get 15 yards, at least 15 yards of ribbon with the sign and ribbon kit, which is plenty for making a wreath, and you'll see once I get it going here. So I'm going to go ahead, just a couple of reminders before I switch on over to our multiple view, where you can see the front side and actually have the bird's eye view. Make sure as you're here to please give thumbs up if you're enjoying the tutorial thus far. If you'd like to, make sure that you let me know if you like. That's how I'll know to continue doing the same type of videos. We just kind of change it up a bit. So thumbs up if you like the tutorial and this video. Subscribe if you have not already done so. Do subscribe. You can click on the bell as well. It will notify you when I'm going live, or we're loading a premiere, or doing something new on the channel, so that way you'll be notified of those. And if by chance you want to be informed of everything especially made for me, everything business related, whether we're doing some events locally, whether we're doing some specials, some sales, and notify you of YouTube, or anything that we're doing new that we're adding to the shop, or not, because I don't add everything to the shop, but I do want to make sure my customers do know, in case they want to do a special order or custom order, they can still do it without having to go through Etsy. So just to save some money there on shipping if you're here locally. So do subscribe to the email list. There is a link for that as well below. There's also a description on everything we're going to be using here, and that way you could buy the supplies if you don't already have the supplies, and then you could always do a replay on the video and do the wreath with me. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and change our multiple to go to our multiple view here, so you can see, you should be able to see me towards the corner. So you'll have the front side of me, still be able to see what we're working on from the front view, but also have the bird's eye view on the work that we're doing, so you can see the tabletop and see things as we go. So I'm going to put our little sign away and make sure my phone is on silent, because that's happened, and of course I'll get a phone call or something, which is so I want to make sure I get that off. And we're going to get started. Now here I have, this doesn't come with the kit. The wreath form does not come with the kit, and we don't have the mesh on this kit, but we do have another kit on our shop where it does come with everything. So do check that one out. That one is also a very cute one. It's for summer, and it's a We Dream in Colors Borrowed from the Sea. So you can check that one out as well. Let me go ahead. Still playing with my phone here. Sorry about that. Okay. So here is the, I kind of started putting the mesh on our wreath form, and I'm just doing a poof method. So it's, again, it's a simple type of wreath. So I just kind of got it started just for sake of timing, but I have a couple more to fill in onto the stems, and I'll show you how I've been doing that. The tip that I want to share share with you, this is a 21-inch mesh roll, 21 by 10 yards. I've already done another wreath with this roll, so I'm basically making a whole other wreath with this roll. So for my creatives out there, might be wondering, how on earth are you doing 2 wreaths with one roll? So that's going to be one of the tips I'm sharing today. So normally we do 6 to 8 inch, sometimes even 10 inch on our poofs, when we do poofs on our wreath, depending on how big we want our wreaths to be. And we also use that just kind of like, well, the more mesh we use, the fuller it's going to look, and all of that good stuff. But that's not always necessarily true. It all depends on how you do your method. In this case, this is the poof method. So all I am doing is making my poof, but instead of going so big, I'm actually, believe it or not, just doing about 4 inches. I know that may seem like, what? That's just not enough mesh in there. But if you do about 4 inches, maybe 5 at the most, I'm actually going about 4 inches. You can still have plenty of mesh for coverage and be able to do 2 wreaths with the same roll versus just the one. So couple of other things. Main thing to do with your poof, as I'm doing here now, make sure you have it fully open. Open up that poof. The more you open it, the more coverage you have, the fuller your wreath will look, even though you're only using a 4-inch poof, doing a 4-inch poof. So you can see it from the top view. Even though I'm only using 4 inches, it's pretty full. You can't see any of the wires. So the key is opening up the poof as open as you possibly can. The more you open it, the better. So I'm going to do that again. Just, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can measure it if you like. Taking that stem out of my way there. Okay. And I think this is actually my last one. Only left 2 to do. And you can see I still have some left. Even though I've already gone all the way around. So I went all the way around just once on my outer and once on the inner, and I did not zigzag. Normally, if we're going to use that full roll to make it full, if that's what we're going with, we kind of go around, we do a poof zigzag method and all of that. And if you don't know about that, so sorry. I do have other tutorials showing about the poof and the zigzag method. You can look it up on my other tutorials. But basically all it is once we do that, we kind of go zigzagging and alternate top and bottom to make it even fuller. So that's what that is, zigzag. But I do show it on another video as a tutorial if you'd like to check that out. That's also another awesome way to make your wreaths really full. So I've already finished here, but I'm going to, just because this is showing where I went up to do my inner. Couple of things you can do here. You can go one more across and end it there, or you can choose to come down to the lower. So it's entirely up to you which way you want to go based on your preference. There's no law, no specific rules with regards to that, so you can decide what you want to do. Now I'm gonna turn this over. See, if I do it this way, you can kind of see the different poofs on there. If I come down this way, it just looks like one big poof and everything else looks smaller. So I'm actually going to work it in this way and just make it smaller because I'm just trying to go across, and we already have plenty of mesh up here. So I'm just going to cut it, and then I'm going to tuck it in. And I'm actually going to use the scissors instead of the rotary color cutter. My accent just came my Spanglish. Hello. Okay, so I still have, let me show you this. Take it off of my brush roll. I still have all of this mesh, and I had already done another wreath the same way, just doing a simple wreath with the poof method, doing that 4-inch trick I just showed you. And I still have, let me see if I can turn it this way. I still have plenty here left. So if you're like me and you like to kind of use your remnants for different things, you still have plenty to do another project with that. So I'm going to show you what I do with my end here. So if you're not into doing another poof or going down to the outer rim, you could also do this because you still have the coverage. And let me get my, you'll need a zip tie. And I'm going to go ahead and take a long one in case we do a bow. And excuse me, that kind of popped. The plastic popped. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just tuck it under and use our zip tie to keep it in place. And then you still have, I'm actually going to try to go a little bit further across. Hope you, yeah, we can see that. Okay, so I'm going to tie it in with the zip tie, and I'm just going underneath. Here's the zip tie. I'm just making sure that I wrap the mesh, and just be careful not to get any of that poof that's there cut up into it. You know, I'm gonna try and show you here so you can see what I'm, let me move that poof out of the way. So this is all I'm doing. I'm just putting that zip tie there to hold the mesh, and just get it as tight as you can, and that'll keep your poofs intact. And just cut that excess. You can then move your poof back into place. You probably won't have to do what I did. I just wanted to make sure that I showed you what it looks like. And this is what basically just gives you another small poof. Poof, there it is. And we're just going to open it up just like we did with our others. And this still will provide you some more coverage, even though, as you were able to see, that really wasn't needed because we already have those other poofs there. But that's basically it. So now we have a base for our wreath using the poof method. We did not zigzag. We just did 4-inch poofs. Everything's covered, no metal. And then we still have our stems, which add to our color. So you could always cut these down once you're done. When we're done, excuse me, adding the ribbons and the sign and all that, you could always cut those down. Or if you want to leave that other pop of color, you definitely can. So that's our base, and we're going to get with our ribbons. And we can let me show you this. Look at that, it's looking good. I'm excited. I hope we're doing well and enjoying this tutorial. If you're just joining me, we're using one of our sign and ribbon kits that we have in our shop to make our wreath today. So let's see, I'm gonna go with 12 inches. So we're gonna start cutting ribbons, and I apologize, I did not cut them ahead of time. Bad me. But I wanted to kind of show the full process of what I do. This is our main ribbon. I'm gonna hold it up here. It does come with the kit along with the sign. We have 3 ribbons that you get in the sign on the sign and ribbon kit. So here we go. Now, if this is your first wreath, always count your stems so that way you'll know how many pieces of the ribbons, how many cuts of the ribbons you're going to need. The rule of thumb is usually there's 10 on the bottom on the outer, and there's 8 on the inner. But depending on where you get your wreath from, your wreath form from, like a tongue twister, trabalengua, it may be off by 1 or 2, so it's always good to count, so that way you'll know how many ribbons to cut, how many sets of ribbons you're gonna need. Okay, so in this case I had already counted. I know there's 18, 10 on the outer and 8 on the inner, so I know what to cut. Since this is our main ribbon and I want this ribbon to be everywhere, I'm going to do the full 18. So just another thing to consider based on the ribbons you're using. You could alternate the ribbons, or you could use the same ribbons everywhere depending on how many you're using, if you're using 2 or 3. So I'm just putting the ribbons out there so you can see them on the side of the... And I'm doing 12 inches for our ribbon, our little tails that we're going to be using for our wreath. And if you choose to, you could always just do 2 ribbons. Doesn't have to be 3. Sometimes on the wreaths we do, you know, 2 or 3. We go up to, you know, 4. I've done that. For the other wreath kits that I have on the shop, there's actually 4 sets of ribbon that you get on the kits. So it all depends. It's just to make sure you have plenty of ribbon in case you want to make a bow. Okay. Sorry I stayed quiet there for a second, just trying to make sure I don't miss my count, because I've definitely done that. And then I have to recount. So these scissors that I'm using, the Westcott scissors, I have an affiliate link on the bottom. If you don't have a good pair of scissors, you know, like doing different projects, you know, crafting projects, I definitely recommend these. They pretty much cut through everything. I've had to use them to cut through the wire, you know, cut wires and stuff, and can't find my wire cutter. I've used the actual scissors to do it. So just in case, you for a tip here with regards to dovetailing your ribbon, all you do is fold it in half, have your corners, so basically your corners are together, and you're going to cut diagonally across towards that corner. Okay, and then that'll give you your dovetail. Okay, do it again on the other side just to show. We're folding, and then we're going to cut diagonally across. Okay, and there it is. It just gives it a finished look. To me, it just makes it look nicer, but you don't have to. Could also do just one diagonal diagonal cut. I don't know why I'm getting all tongue twisted today. It's that Spanglish. Okay. I'll put the pin on that later. Let me get it out of the way. Alright, let's go ahead and finish these. Make sure we dovetail these. If you're just joining us, we are doing a wreath using our one of the sign-in ribbon kits that we have in our shop. This one is for summer, and it's fun in the sun. I'll show you that sign here in a bit. I'll go ahead and show it again. This is it here. So we kind of matches our ribbons, both of them, all 3 of them. So it comes with all 3 of these ribbons and the sign. And I do cut them before sending them out to you. I don't do the dovetailing or anything. You do get one big piece, but if you could imagine, if I give you all these big rolls, the shipping alone would be kind of heavy. So I always try to cut them off, you know, just measure the yards and take them off the roll. Makes it a little bit better for shipping. Costs less. Okay, so for your other ribbons, if you're going to be alternating them, you only do half. So if our total is 18, we're only going to do 9 of each of the other 2 ribbons. If you're only going to have 3 ribbons. Of course, if you're going to have 4 ribbons, then you got to do the math. Do the happy math to make sure if you're going to be alternating. And you could always put all of the ribbons at each stem. That's entirely up to you. Just know you'll be using more ribbon doing that, of course. Okay, same thing to dovetail the ribbon here. We're just folding it and cutting diagonally across towards those tips, towards the corner. And if you're out there watching, please let me know. Just say hi. Looks like we have a few. We may have a few watching. I've had that before, and they said we had like 6 or 7 people watching, and I had no idea because I didn't see no comments. So please let me know you're out there watching. Just say hi. If it's possible, let me know where you're watching from. Doesn't have to be the specific location, but maybe city, state, just so that I know. And if you're watching as a replay and not on the live, you could always do a comment and just kind of let me know, you know, tag it for replay. That way I know you watch later. I do check on comments periodically. So even if we don't catch it during live, I can respond to the comments later. So. The more I look at this, the more I want to add more yellow. Hello, yellow. We'll see how it goes. For those of you that have been watching my tutorials for a bit, you know that I don't necessarily plan everything 100%. I change things up as I go. I like keeping things fun and interesting. So I might start thinking I'm going to do the project one way and end up doing it a different way. And why not? We can definitely do that. No rules, no rules. Okay, we have our 9. Again, just doing some dovetailing. And this one, this ribbon, it's more of a linen type ribbon, so it's a little bit thick. Not as thick as a canvas, but it is a little bit thick, and it feels really nice. They are all wired. I like using wire ribbons because they're easier to shape. That does come in handy when you're making decor, you know, wreaths and swags and making bows, which is something else I like to do. I actually haven't made any summer ones yet, so I need to go ahead and make some. Do have some on the shop for other things, just haven't made any summer ones yet. Shame on me again. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start putting our ribbons in. So I mentioned earlier we were making this one our main ribbon just because of the little, we have the dots and the lines just like we have on our sign that we made. And it has the same colors, just on the ribbon, the pink is more of a fuchsia, but we still have the limes and the yellows. Sorry, I'm kind of pointing and noticing you don't see that on the bird's eye view. So we have the lime with the dots, and we have our yellows. We have a little bit of purple even, some orangey yellow, and then of course we have our other yellow. So our main ribbon goes in on every stem, and then we're going to alternate with our yellow, and then we'll alternate with the other pink as well. So when you're using a smaller ribbon, my tip there, hi Miss Monica. The kit has the sign and the 3 ribbons that we're using today. So this one is a sign and ribbon kit versus the other ones that we have. We also have the ones that have the full kit where it's got everything you need, the mesh, the wreath form, and the ribbons plus the sign. But this one is sign and ribbon only. Good to have you. Good question. So for my ribbons, I just find my middle. That's what I was doing, and then I just pinch it, scrunch it in the middle. You could go ahead and shape them from here if you like, and then put them on. So we're going to be alternating. You can start at your outer rim, your inner rim. Doesn't really matter. No rules. Do what you like best. Okay. Now I'm not going to be adding embellishments, so I'm going to go ahead and do more than one twist here. And as I mentioned earlier, depending on your preference, if you'd like, you can cut these down, or if you want that to be part of your technique for the wreath, to kind of give it that oomph and kind of have that color to stand out, you could always leave that in. Doesn't hurt anything. You can kind of tuck them in so it doesn't, you know, poke anybody, and you'll still be able to see that color. So for the ribbons, a couple of different things. You can leave them just as is. You can decide here if you want to have the one ribbon on top and the other one on the bottom. So that's one option. Or you can crisscross them so you'll have both on top and bottom. Definitely different ways to do it. I kind of lean more towards doing it this way because that way I'm spreading the colors around a little bit more. But it's entirely up to you. You could also put them all together going down or going up. So I'll show you that as well. Just different ways of doing it. And there you go. Or you can put them going up. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. Just kidding. No wrong way of doing the positioning of your ribbons. Just have fun with it. It's meant to be fun. Okay, just alternating our ribbons here. And finding my middle. So what I do when I'm doing the crisscross on the ribbons, if I have that same ribbon coming down on this end, then I have it going up on that end. Again, it's just to spread the colors around. But it's entirely up to you. I feel like I haven't done a wreath with mesh in such a long time. We've been doing, let's see, we've been doing a lot of florals, centerpieces, garland, doing some fake bakes. So it's been a bit. So another good thing about the sign and ribbon kit is that you can use, and I think I mentioned that earlier, you can use basically anything you already have at home to match it. So depending if you have some remnants that you want to use up, that's definitely a good option to do a sign and ribbon kit. And I did, I had gotten some more mesh rolls in. I was trying to get them all put up on the shop so they'll be ready for purchasing. And I ran into a little glitch with the shipping when I was trying to get all of that set up. So I had to put that off. I guess I gotta work on that this weekend. And hopefully I'll be able to put those up there. If not, just let me know. We can do it, I guess, as a custom order type thing. Or if you're here locally, we will be at doing our vendor shows this weekend. Hopefully, if the inclement weather we're expecting is not too bad. Got a phone call from the folks that are hosting the vendor shows, and they're concerned with the weather. And it's just, you know, a lot of rain and thunderstorms and whatnot that it's expected for the area. And they were giving us the option, if we wanted to still come out, that was fine. But they're, you know, giving us the option to set up next weekend, which is nice, you know, at no extra cost. We can do both weekends, except I already have plans for next weekend. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the rain won't be so bad and we can still do the vendor shows okay. So we have one, let's see, Saturday will be in Milton tomorrow, and then Sunday will be back in Pensacola. So, and we do have the details for locations on that on our Facebook page, if you'd like to check that out. And again, we're just alternating on these. And the ribbons are cut to 12 inches, in case you joined us a little late. And we did do 4-inch poofs for our base versus our usual 6 to 10 inches, depending on what size wreath we're trying to make. And that helps with saving on mesh. So you could basically do 2 wreaths with 1 roll of 21-inch 10-yard roll of mesh, which is basically what I did. This 1 roll, I had already done another wreath with it. I'm just using what's left, made this other wreath, and I still have some left over. The key with that, in case you did not hear it at the beginning, is making sure you open up those poofs. The more you open them up, the more coverage it provides, and the more full it looks. Just like all the colors. So colorful. So I mentioned this one doesn't come with the mesh, this kit, but there is, we do have some other kits in the shop that come with the mesh rolls and the wreath forms, in case you're interested in those. We have a summer one out there now. And that one is with a sea life, has some fishies and jellyfish ribbons and different things. So it's about dreaming in color, and we're borrowing those colors from the sea. And I'll show the sign on that here in a bit. But that one does come with everything you'll need to make your wreath. And you'll have plenty of ribbon to put on your wreath and possibly even make a bow. In case you like to put both a sign and a bow on your wreaths. I don't always. Alright, so we went all the way around, and now we get to go to our inner. So we were on our outer, and now we're going to our inner. Still alternating the ribbons. And another thing you could do here, which will save you on ribbon if you get this kit so that you can make an even bigger bow, you could do just your outer. So just cut the 10 for your main ribbon, your 10 pieces of ribbon, and then just do 5 or alternate your other ribbons on the outer, and don't put any ribbon on the inside, and just do your sign in the middle. So that's definitely another option. Now you can still do the ribbon on the inside and do the sign, and just kind of position your sign whether in the middle or the side. I kind of alternate that. I always have this thing about if you're going to put it on your front door, for example, if you put that sign in the middle, it does cover, if you have that, what they call that magic eye, where you can see who's knocking or ringing, knocking on your door or ringing the doorbell. That kind of covers that usually. So just be careful with that. If you're going to be putting it in the middle, if it's going to be for your front door, you may have to maybe put it on the side instead. Just some things to consider, just for safety. And again, just finding my middle and pinching so I can make sure I stay with the middle, and shaping the ribbon. And since we're not doing embellishments this time, I'm actually going to go ahead and finalize the twists. Do you? Yeah, I think it's just so nice and colorful, with all different colors, with the pinks and the yellows, and having the little splash of that lime, and it just kind of, I don't know, it's colorful, pretty. So I agree. I'm glad you like it. Sometimes we just gotta have a little splash of color. To make things happy. Now another thing you could do here with alternating your ribbons, I've been putting, since we're using the one with the little stripes as our main ribbon, I've been making sure that one is always on top when I'm using that other pink ribbon. You could always put the other one on top if you want to have more of the other pink and less of the one with the different colors on it. Again, it's all up to you. And like making sure I give all the different options. There's so many options out there. Hello, yellow. this ribbon. It's got all the colors in it. All the yellow and the pink and the lime. Oops. You can see how full it's looking, even though we didn't go with the general rule of doing a big poof. So that's again a way that you can save on your mesh and be able to make more wreaths and even swags. Okay, only 2 left, and then we can put our sign on. Another thing you can do if you're using a sign, you could always skip, if you're going to be putting it on the side, could always skip putting ribbons on it and then put the sign where the ribbons would go. Because when we put the sign on here, basically some of that ribbon is going to be hidden anyway. Then you got to reposition all of your ribbons. So that's one option as well. Oops, didn't mean to shine the light out on anybody. Just saw that on the camera, the light was just shining from the sign. So that's one option. You could always put it on top or, you know, bottom or side. Or you can still stick with the middle. So we can decide that as we go along. Okay, the last one. And again, this time I'm not cutting my stems. I'm going to leave them on just to kind of have that turquoise aqua color to give it that pop throughout. So there's our wreath. We could even leave it as is. Okay, and you can see it's still so full. We don't see any of the wires, any of the actual wreath forms. We would have to turn it around to do that. So 4 inches on the poof works, still gives you a full wreath, and it saves you on your mesh roll as well, so you can make more than one. Let's see. Okay, so my signs that I have on the shop, whether it's just the individual signs or with our kits, whether the ribbon and sign kit or the full do-yourself kits, I don't put holes in mine. I sell them just as they are. I do make sure that I cut the corners so that way they're not sharp, you know, they're not pointy and sharp and cut anybody. But do keep that in mind if you decide to get any of my signs or any of the kits. The signs themselves, because usually creators would actually buy these, I don't put the holes in it. So that's something to consider. You would have to have the tool to do the little holes in it. So if you don't, there should be a link for that as well. If you don't have that, Amazon sells it. I just do a little hole with my tool, and then I use some wire to secure it. Woo. Make sure that it goes all the way through. My husband was playing with tightening up my little screw on my tool the other day. And now it's a little bit harder for me to get that roll, but basically that's, if you use one of these tools, let's see, I have to, you can barely see it. See how tiny it is? But it is big enough to be able to use your wire. I use this kind of wire. It's 26 gauge, and I use the silver. But that's the wire that I use to secure my signs on here. And I do actually the hole on on all four corners, just to make sure it's nice and secure. We could even give it the shake the shake test. And we're gonna need the wire cutters. Okay, so now that I have all the different holes on there, let me put that on there while I get my wire. We need to cut some wire. Now you can use floral wire, like the green wire that we use for bows. If you want to use those, that's okay as well. Some use the pot cleaners as well. So there's many different things you can use for securing your signs and different embellishments on. Don't need too much. Whoops. I just cut my 4 pieces and then I secure it onto the sign. And I'll be showing you just how I do it. One more. Just like making sure it's nice and secure. And what I like about this wire, if you use the silver ones, you really can't, you can barely see it. You can't see it on the wreath. So that's one reason why I like using it. Okay. So here we go. Let's see if we can, so that you can see me doing this. So what I do is just run it through from the front. Get in there. Must not have wiggled it enough on that one. Let's see. Let's see if I can cheat it the other way. Doesn't matter. Let's see. Let's do this again. Going through the same hole. Just to make sure it opens up. And normally it snaps, but I don't know. I'll have to ask my hubby. He tightened up these screws for me because they were kind of loose the other day. And normally I could just snap and it'll open enough. So let's see if it did it now. I don't know how that would change anything with the cutter, but it seems to have affected it somehow. Okay, so then when I run it through, let's see, can we see that? Okay, good. So I just kind of do a shorter side and I just tighten it, just kind of twist it on there, because you want your longer length for running it through to tighten it up in the back of your wreath, so that you're not actually going to be seeing. So there it is. So looks like I'll need it on that one. It worked on one side, just not the other. It's like threading a needle. It's just I have to use like a magnifying glass or something when I do the sewing, or use one of those little tool things. So this is basically the same way. The little hole is kind of tiny. It's really just big enough for that wire to make it through. Looks like I'm missing. No, it's just running. It's like, did I not cut 4 pieces? Okay, again, just going from the front, turning it over, and making sure it's nice and secure. Just, oops, can't see that on the center. There we go. And I'm just kind of twisting it around the longer piece. Kind of like when you do I don't know if you've done that, but when you do pictures, you know, frames, you're going to be putting that wire in the back of them for hanging them up. It's basically the same concept. And I mentioned about not putting the holes in it prior to. So I noticed some of our customers buy just the signs individually. They don't get the kits. And they actually put those in those, like for what you used to put a picture on a tabletop. So they just use it for that. So I try to think of that ahead of time just to make sure that we don't put holes in it in case they're not going to be using it for wreaths. So here we go. So we can decide where we're going to want it, of course, if we want it in the middle or if we want it on the side. And this one I'm going to go ahead and go straight down in the middle. I'm just going to hold your wires and run them back. And you could do one at a time. And all you're doing is finding your wreath form, and you're going to run that wire to that back to secure it. Now you could always double it. I'll show you what I mean by that. Like instead of having a short piece and a long piece, kind of make them even, and then you could just wrap the wires around that way. So I'm going to turn it over just so I can show you what I'm doing. Okay. So you're going to run it and use your wreath form wire to actually make that sign snug. So you could do all of your sides. And get your wires. And you can use the crossbars anywhere you like. And then just pull through so it'll be nice and snug. And before you secure it, make it tight. Kind of look to see if you have it just where you want the sign at before making it too tight. So that way you'll be able to move it. Because once you make it really tight and you get it on there, you're not going to be able to do much of anything else unless you start over. You're going to have to cut your wire and all of that good stuff. We don't want you to have to do that. So we have our wires. Kind of hold them that way they won't disappear on you because you can barely see them, and then decide if you want to move your sign any further than where it's at. If you want it more higher up or lower or more to the side and that kind of thing. And then remember, we're going to have to play with our ribbons, which is what I'm doing now, just to make sure that they're not just squished underneath the sign. But we could do that at the end. So that's basically what we do. So once you have it where you want it, then we can come to the back. Ah, glad you like it. I love the colors. Colors. It's colorful. So then we can actually secure it. Now we know that that's exactly where we want our sign to be. So we can play with our wires. And all I do is just really simple. Just kind of go around on the frame, and you could do a knot, because with this 26 gauge wire you could actually tie it off once you have it where you want it. And again, use your crossbar rather, if you can. See, I'm kind of pulling on it now so it's nice and secure. And then once you have it all tucked and tightened, then you can cut any excess wire if you want to, or just continue to wrap it around. So right now that's all secure. I did a knot with it and it's going to stay put. So you could always come back and cut it or continue to wrap it around. depending on how much time you have in your hands. I've done both, so wrapping it around just kind of takes a little bit of the time, but you can definitely do that and go crisscross. Basically all that would do is just kind of help you for it to be more secure, but you really can't see this wire, which is why I like it. Okay, I could play with that later. I want to make sure I show you the final product here. Okay, using my crossbar. Now I'm folding so I can work on the knot. And again, it's just like sewing. I'm just kind of doing a quick knot. And then you can tuck it as needed, so it'll stay put. Okay, going on to the next one. See that? Just kind of go under it just like I'm tying a knot, and then just pull. Now do be careful with the wire, with it being so thin, it can go into your mesh. Okay, I have one more. Tell you, our weather just keeps getting crazier and crazier these days. We had storms galore. We had some rain, storming pretty heavy. I remember I call them rubber duckies. I had my rubber boots, my little raincoat and all of that to make it to the office the other day. And it was supposed to be a day with lots of rain, they said. So I was ready. And before the end of the day, it just like halfway through the day, maybe midday, it stopped pouring and the sun came out. It's like, okay. Just never know. Okay, leave it that way for now. So here it is. It's kind of gotten flattened out because we were squishing on it. And turn it over so you can see the sign, fun in the sun. And this is what I mentioned about having to play with the ribbons to make sure they're not getting buried by your sign. So kind of pull them out from under and then just reshape them as needed. I have to move them around. But that's pretty much it. Make sure I don't have anything else buried. And just reshape the ribbon. This is another reason why I like using the wired ribbons, because they can easily be reshaped even if they get flattened out. Okay. So here we are. Hear ye, hear ye. Okay. So what do we think? I hope you like it. Don't forget, thumbs up. Give thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Share the video link with your friends. Share it in social media. If you do make this wreath or any wreath, anything that you make, please don't forget to tag us on social media. I love seeing all the different creations out there. Everybody has a different way of doing things, and it's just good to see all the beautiful things that are being created out there, especially these days. There's just so much negative that's being brought to attention instead of all the good positive things. So let's share some positive things, some beautiful things, and just put it all out there. Share it with us, tag us, and we'll be doing some of the same. We do post some of our things on Facebook as well, just to kind of show what we've made and what we've been working on. So please do share with us. We do have a Facebook group as well, for the love of crafts. That is a free group. I'm hoping to get some members on there. We planned on starting it last year and just didn't get to do it with all the crazy. So we're hoping to get that going and get some members, and we can share some of these beautiful creations that we make from day to day. So join that group if you make some things where it doesn't have to be just wreaths or swags. If you do florals or paints, if you do a lot of painting or even woodwork, anything that you create, it's a craft. So please do consider joining, because it doesn't have to be just for decoration pieces with mesh and florals and that type of thing. So if no questions, I keep looking for comments in case there's any other questions. Do join us next week. We're here on Fridays, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be doing some more wonderful creations. Do subscribe to the email list if you haven't already. We do give you some notifications ahead of time via that email list, so you'll know what's coming up event wise, or new things that it's going on out in the shop, and also any sales and events and that type of thing. So do join that email list. Subscribe to the channel so you'll also be notified. In case you don't join the email list, it'll still notify you by just clicking on that doorbell and subscribing. It'll send you notifications. I think they start about I don't know if it's an hour or 30 minutes prior to they start notifying. YouTube automatically does that, so that way you'll know that a channel that you subscribe to is going to be going live soon. So that's another way of doing that. So until next time, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and change the camera view here just so I can be more on the center, and I'll go ahead and bring the wreath up so you'll still be able to see that. So until next time, hope you'll join us. Stay safe, continue creating, share it with us, and stay liquid. We hope you're with us next time. Bye bye.